Think about the things we take for granted. Long showers, laundry loads, faucets on full blast. Clean, plentiful, safe drinking water. Just turn on the tap, it's all yours.
So they're going to get that one going so we can do them faster?
But 9,000 miles away from home, some volunteers are hard at work in a place where the drinking water looks like this.
This is the water they were drinking prior to us being here today.
It's shocking. It's so contaminated.
Water that kills more than 9,000 Malawians every year, most of them under the age of 5.
As we are drinking bad water, we feel pain in our stomach.
In villages like this one, where it has never flowed clean and clear.
With clean water, that changes everything.
Those volunteers wanted to do something about that, so they joined a nonprofit called
Marion Medical Mission,
which over the last few decades has installed more than
50,000 wells, that's approximate.
Providing clean drinking water to
figure around 5 million, an estimate of 5 million and 3 million children.
The numbers are just staggering.
It isn't easy work.
I've had a bridge collapse under me. I've had at least 7 flat tires, crossed river bridges using my snorkel.
And my first response was, me? You want me to go to Africa?
But ask them, they'll tell you it's worth it because they're changing lives forever and, more importantly, saving lives.
It's unreal.
So they invited us to travel here to Africa with them to see how it's done. This is one of the least developed countries on the planet. It's one of the poorest places in the world. For them, doing this kind of work is
Actually spiritual.
And it's definitely
Joyful. Can't say any more than that. True joy.
But more than anything,
The main one is love. We love these people.
so much love for the first time ever, it's overflowing. Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Jeremy Hubbard, coming to you from a small village near Empanella, Malawi. This is a trading center where locals come from far and wide to sell the chickens and vegetables they've raised on their family farms, often for very little money. It is a meager existence here. The average Malawian lives on the equivalent of $1 to $2 US per day. If you've never heard of this place or couldn't find it on a map, Malawi is a small country in East Africa where infectious disease runs rampant, hunger is widespread, and then there's the lack of clean drinking water. But we were struck by the efforts of some volunteers who've come thousands of miles from home to do something about that. This is why Betty Samuelson has been traveling from Monument, Colorado to East Africa pretty much every year since 2008. The unbridled joy she witnesses when she dedicates the shallow well that will finally bring safe, sustainable drinking water to the most remote villages of Malawi. Many of these villagers thought this day would never come.
They're closing cholera clinics because people are finally drinking clean water.
Traveling the bumpy roads of one of the poorest, least developed countries on earth at the wheel of a four-wheel drive loaded with water pipes and supplies, this retired nurse says the need here is overwhelming.
And how do you deny anybody clean water?
And this year she's brought reinforcements with her.
I mean, my mom's talked about it forever, and I wanted to help people and be a part of it, and I love to see other parts of the world, and I think it's really important to be aware of other parts of the world and the differences and everything other people are going through.
Two of her daughters, Molly, a nurse, and Kate.
It's really touching to think that how one well can serve a whole village and how many people can be in the village and get clean water, and that you actually really can make a difference and literally save people's lives.
Their friend Bonnie, also a nurse, couldn't wait to join them too.
I came here 21 years ago with a different medical mission. It was life-changing. I've always wanted to come back to do a trip in Africa. There is a pulse to this whole continent that is amazing.
The volunteers came here with a nonprofit called Marion Medical Mission. Over the past few decades, they've installed 50,000 plus wells here in Malawi and also in Mozambique, Tanzania, and Zambia too. And they're on track to provide clean water to 4,000 more villages this year alone.
First well is 25,000.
The crew consisting of 19 American volunteers in this part of Africa. Their job to verify the wells that have been built will provide the rural poor with safe drinking water, take a GPS reading, a picture of the well, and take part in a handover celebration and tell the villagers about the American donors who paid for this life-changing and life-saving well.
This is your village. You own it. And when you have something this nice, it comes with responsibility.
In just 4 days of work, they had a hand in getting safe water to 41,000 people. And while that is cause for celebration, the hard work's just beginning. Over the next few weeks, Betty and the other volunteers would cover 60,000 bumpy square miles across this part of Africa, delivering far more than just pipes and supplies.
Because I still can. I never thought I'd be doing it at my age, but I love it.
Aside from the obvious dangers of drinking contaminated water,
And many other projects.
Jordan Banda, a coordinator with the nonprofit we're traveling with, tells me years ago, women and girls who had to walk miles to fetch water for their families from certain rivers often faced a different kind of threat.
So these rivers are also breeding areas for crocodiles. So as a result, in the process, when they go fetch water, there have been cases where a lot of women have been caught by crocodiles. So those were the first areas that we embarked on this program.
They are obviously grateful crocodiles are a rare danger now, thanks to the addition of so many safe drinking water wells near their villages. And in every village, they have a generous way of saying thank you. Just ask volunteer Grant Aarons.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Seems like everywhere Grant goes in Malawi, the locals are showering him with gifts. Big bunches of bananas,
He will grow.
live chickens, buckets of potatoes. It may not seem like much, but these are big thank yous from grateful villagers whose lives have just been changed dramatically for the better.
I was at a well and they had no gift to give. A man had a torn shirt and he took it off. He said he literally gave us the shirt off his back.
Aarons is carrying out a 3-week stint in
So
Malawi,
they're gonna get that one going so we can do them faster?
witnessing the joy of what it looks like the very moment villagers get clean, safe, sustainable drinking water for the very first time.
Christians from America heard of your need of clean water, so they provided the money to help fund the pipe, pump, and the cement.
Fresh water is an afterthought where Grant lives, back home in Boulder, Colorado.
Jeremy, you asked me why we come? This is why we come.
But when you see the local water source here,
This is the water they were drinking prior to us being here today.
you can understand why some 9,000 Malawians die from waterborne illness every year, most of them young children under the age of 5.
The dangerous cholera. I mean, with the animals and everyone drinking this, the amount of cholera and other bacteria and diseases. Today is the last day they will drink water from here.
Before today, retrieving water was a task that might prevent young girls from going to school.
And they're getting up at 2 in the morning and sometimes walking hours for clean water, maybe more than one time a day. They can't go to school. With clean water, that changes everything.
The people in the village actually dig the wells themselves by hand, 20 feet deep. They're involved every step along the way.
I am so happy to be back.
Grant's here for the final part, working with the charities team on the ground as they install the pump, making sure everything works, and handing over to the villagers the gift that will likely save lives.
On your well, you will see the words carved, "Glory to God." That is to remind you that every time you pump clean water from your well, that this well was a gift of God, gift from God to all of you.
This experience could not be more different than Grant's regular life back home in the U.S., where he works as a financial consultant. The number one question Grant gets when he comes here to East Africa is, how dangerous is it? Is it safe there? He says there's only one thing that makes him feel like he's in danger.
Those roads are gnarly.
Over dicey mountain roads.
Straight down on your left, straight down on your right, and you better be paying attention.
And rickety wood plank bridges just barely able to support the width and weight of a heavy four-wheel drive. Yet all those roads lead to the same place, villagers in need. The people who are always saying thank you even though they don't have much to give.
We will let him grow.
Little do they know they've already given Grant and the others a much bigger gift than they could ever imagine.
They were just so joyful. And they weren't just doing that when you and I were there. It wasn't a show. That's authentic. I think that's every day of their lives. That's the most haunting thing about being here, is seeing folks full of not just happiness, because that's transactional, joy, which is, at your core.
Straight ahead, it is not just life-giving water that's transforming villages here in East Africa.
You see it in the field.
We'll introduce you to the American volunteers who've taken it a step further.
This is Zimbabwean School for Deaf Children.
Giving kids an education they never thought possible.
These are all the boys.
When Assignment Africa, Mission to Malawi, continues after this. We are on a mission to Malawi, traveling from village to village in one of the poorest countries on earth. A staggering 71% of the population in this country lives below the international poverty line. That means they exist on about $2 per day. The inflation rate here is a staggering 30%, and it's gone up about 100% over the last 3 years. And with food costs rising about 30% over the past year and wages not keeping up with that, it is very difficult for people to stay ahead. We've come here with a nonprofit that plans to install more than 4,000 shallow water wells across the country by year's end, delivering fresh water to villages like this one for the very first time ever. Volunteer Jan Van Heiningen remembers one well dedication ceremony that really drove home how life-changing this kind of work really is.
She was the head mama, and the head mama is the one who pumps the water out of the well first. And they helped her up onto that well, and she started pumping that water. And she turned to her nephew, who helped her down the ridge, and said, "See, now I can go to heaven and tell my parents, my siblings, my children, my grandchildren, that our village is now safe and we have clean water."
And as we found out, the lack of clean drinking water is just one problem in East Africa. Volunteers like Jim Nussbaumer
Decided that it was more useful to put it here.
Have set out to solve. Hard to imagine pulling any of this off.
No.
The deploying of the fleet of four-wheel drives across the harsh African countryside.
Yeah, I feel good.
The preparing 19 American volunteers to finalize the installation of safe, sustainable water wells in the most remote villages of Malawi.
These are ratchet straps.
And the organizing of the tons of gear it takes to carry out the mission.
And these are bungee cords galore.
Hard to imagine any of it happening without the help of Jim Nussbaumer.
You'll see it in the field.
A retired software engineer from Colorado, Jim's been traveling here to Malawi with the nonprofit since 1999, helping the charity get the tools needed to help crews install the 58,000 wells they've now completed across Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, and Mozambique.
And fields are very bumpy.
Helping them secure the rugged vehicles needed to get the job done, and helping manufacture the pumps that pull the well water from the ground, giving fresh water to an estimated 5 million Africans who might otherwise be forced to drink contaminated, dangerous water full of bacteria from animals who share the same water source. But well water isn't the only reason Jim's drawn to this part of the world. He actually first came to Malawi nearly 30 years ago.
This is Mbangweni School for Deaf Children.
When his wife Carol came to work right here at the Mbangweni School for Deaf Children in northern Malawi.
And it became very clear it was a call from God that this was her chosen position.
Carol didn't make it to Africa this year, but her presence is still felt all around campus where everyone asks about her.
They all know Mama Carol or Mama Kalo. Mama Kalo.
In addition to installing all those water wells all over East Africa, Marion Medical Mission came up with the money to build the first classroom block at this school years ago because they knew these kids needed that help. And they've helped build several new buildings for the students in the years since.
These are all the boys.
Jim and Carol decided to take things a step further, honoring Jim's late parents by funding the boys' hostel here on campus.
Looks big until you look at the bunks.
Some 80 boys now have a home away from home at this specialized school, thanks to a very special Colorado couple. The school educates about 200 deaf and hard of hearing students and students with developmental disabilities too. They travel from up to 100 miles away and stay there for weeks at a time, learning sign language and other skills. And it's just one way this Colorado couple has deep roots thousands of miles away from home.
Yeah, this is our vegetable garden.
Just a few yards from the dorm building their family funded, you'll find the Carol and Jim Nussbaumer Garden.
It was planted about 2 weeks ago.
Where students and others are hard at work growing fresh food in a country where a lack of nutrition often rivals the lack of clean water.
And we got seeds for several years from a local manufacturer or distributor in Colorado.
There are lots of ways to help people in need over here. And Jim and his wife and a couple dozen other American volunteers in one of the poorest, least developed regions in the world have found lots of ways to keep on helping.
And all of this is obviously, not our doing. Okay, there's no question the whole thing was preordained. We just had to answer the call eventually.
Answering that call isn't without its challenges. As we found out in the middle of a hot, sunny afternoon on the East African savannah. put up on the side of the road with engine problems easily fixed by duct tape.
It wouldn't be a trip if you didn't have truck problems.
This is hardly the first or worst roadblock volunteers from Marion Medical Mission have faced while on assignment here on the dusty back roads of East Africa.
I've blown a clutch in a truck in the middle of the night and had to have them come rescue me. Been stuck in the sand up to the hubcaps. I've had a bridge collapse under me. I've had at least 7 flat tires. Crossed river bridges using my snorkel. Just one adventure after another.
Rifle is with a rifle.
Then there's the time Doug Key's vehicle was shot at, a rare occurrence in rural areas of Malawi where there's very little crime.
The bullet hit this wheel well and flew up in the air.
All in a day's work for the volunteers on the ground in places like Malawi. With more than 50,000 wells already installed throughout Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, and Mozambique, the question is, will they run out of villages to put these wells in? And their answer is definitely not.
And if you look at a map of Africa and you look at what we're doing, we're covering about 60,000 square miles, about the size of the state of Illinois, which is just a little bitty dot. And so we need to find a way that this program can move and expand and go to these other countries and other places.
The need truly is endless in this region of Africa. They could be digging wells for decades. Another question volunteers so often get, why help people in a strange land 9,000 miles away when so many people back home need help?
Many times people have said, why can't the Africans themselves pull themselves up by their bootstraps? They don't have boots.
Marion Medical Mission founder Tom Logan, who's been doing this work since the mid-1980s, says the need is so great, somebody's got to step in.
I mean, people from Ethiopia and Kenya and Uganda have contacted and say, hey, you know, we need water. Come up and build some wells up here.
Those somebodies who are now stepping in, people like Field Officer Francis Kaponda.
By end of today, this well will be completed.
Who's overseeing the construction of this brand new well being built in a small Malawi village.
More or less like this.
And program coordinator Jordan Banda, who took us to this village where a well is being dug. Before this, villagers were getting sick from the drinking water.
As we are drinking bad water, we feel pain in our stomach.
It wasn't like I came over here and showed them how to build a well. We learned how to build a well together.
It has taken teamwork to get the job done.
So your truck just died instantly?
And some mechanical expertise, too. For Jordan, that means keeping a roll of duct tape handy, because you never quite know when you might need it.
Perfect.
When we return, the volunteer who's keeping his wife's legacy alive by returning to Africa year after year. She always wanted to come here, but never could.
She said, I can't go, but you're going.
That's straight ahead when Assignment Africa Mission to Malawi continues after this. Most people travel to Africa to finally see the romanticized image of a continent they've spent a lifetime forging in their mind. The up-close experience with wildlife, the sweeping savannas, brown and barren, before the rainy season arrives and turns everything green. But this is what has drawn Wayne Schultz of Parker, Colorado to sub-Saharan Africa for more than a decade now. The abject poverty of one of the least developed places on earth.
Everybody tells you about the need, and until you're there, until you see it, so you just don't have that appreciation.
And the desperate need for clean, life-giving water.
Well, it gives you a sense of part of the world that you've not been that familiar with.
Wayne is a board member with Marion Medical Mission, and he's traveled annually to Africa since 2013.
They were on a Marion Medical Mission history.
He's part of the second team of American volunteers on the ground, helping the nonprofit in its quest to finish installing those 4,000-plus safe, sustainable water wells in the most remote of villages in Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, and Mozambique. Coming to Malawi wasn't even his idea, it was his wife's. One day she was reading an article in a newspaper when she heard about American volunteers doing great things thousands of miles from home. She wanted them to get involved. But it turns out she was too sick to travel to Africa that year, or at all.
She said, I can't go, but you're going.
She died in 2017 after a long illness. But Wayne keeps her memory alive.
I'd like to think so, yeah.
By carrying out her passion project.
Come on, look at me.
Helping strangers, showing compassion to the most vulnerable, just as the Bible tells these volunteers to do.
They see an immediate impact.
His arrival meant that first batch of volunteers would soon get to go home.
I would say 2 words: life-changing.
But not before experiencing something they'll never forget.
Just feel like you're making a difference.
We definitely take it for granted and don't realize how lucky we are
to see that average people can really get involved in extraordinary things.
An 87-year-old man came up to me my first year and said, "Thank you," in beautiful English. "This is the first time in my life I've had clean, fresh water."
We're involved in the impossible, and it's God that's using us.
Life. It's providing life, opportunity.
I'm a lawyer by training. I have no good usable skills, but here I am on a team where we all have the same goal.
This may be the Africa most American tourists yearn for, the breathtaking beasts and the unmatched beauty of a continent far from home. But this is the Africa that keeps bringing so many volunteers like Wayne back.
We need to be doing this.
On an urgent quest to make life better for those who live here.
The key has always been lifting people up. And when you lift people up, good things happen. Not only that, that encourages them to do more. And our little program can impact the lives of hundreds of thousands.
It is striking that everywhere we looked in Malawi this week, from the cities to the villages to the trading centers, all we saw were smiles, complete joy. Even though these people seem to have nothing, at least not by the yardstick we use to measure possessions. But if you ask them, they have everything. And now many of them even have clean drinking water. I'm Jeremy Hubbard, reporting from Malawi in East Africa. Thanks for joining us.